What's good, FPL community? Craig here from FPL Expectations. We're here for another episode. This time, we're going to analyze game week 1 to 38 with none other than Philosophy, who's joining me in the studio. Philosophy.
Hello, what's up, everyone? Welcome to FPL Expectations.
And you put a little something together for us and for the rest of the FPL community to ease and kind of manage them through the game weeks. We're going to have a little look about that. But first of all, just tell us a little bit about what you put together.
So previously, I've been collecting informations. Mostly, I would like to give credit to guys like Ben Krelin, the master of spreadsheets in Twitter, and also guys from Planet FPL Pod, who have been giving a lot of information about the scheduling of EPL for this season, for next season or this season particularly. I collect all the information and then put it in a sort of diagram to have a clear view on what are the important occasions that are going to happen throughout the season. So basically, you can probably see the whole picture in this one whole diagram.
So I'm just going to get that up for you guys, and here it is. Okay, so you just want to, just for our viewers out there, just to make it, a little bit clearer if they can't really see it, just navigate us from 1 to 38 briefly, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail. We'll shorten the game weeks down, and we'll do it from 1 to 5.
So as we all already know, game week 1 will be a blank game week. 4 teams, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Burnley, and Manchester United, have a blank game week on game week 1. So at the moment, we didn't really know where the possible fixture will be replaced. Probably double game week later on. And then on game week 4, as Ben Krelin have been tweet probably 3-4 days ago, the January TV fixtures will be announced. So we will have our either blank game week 18 or double game week 19 confirmation in between game week 4 and 5. And also between game week 4 and 5 is the end of summer transfer window. So there are possibility of replacement on Manchester City, Aston Villa, Burnley, and Manchester United fixtures, probably in between game week 1 to game week 4, and also later on between game week 5 to game week 16. So on at game week 17, also the possible replacement for both of the fixtures, and then on game week 16 is the final game week for us to use our first wildcard. And then we will be having our second wildcard on game week 17, can be activated on game week 17, our second wildcard. And then game week 18 and 19 is probably sort of, what I call it, winter break for EPL teams. So 10 teams will blank probably in game week 18, and also there's a possibility of 10 teams will be having a double fixtures during game week 19. So we will have the confirmation somewhere in between game week 4 and 5. Moving on game week 26, it will be either blank game week or double game week. And also that weekend is the League Cup final weekend. So it's also a possible replacement for blank game week 29. Yeah. And then game week 29 will be also blank game week because they'll be having a FA Cup quarterfinal during that weekend. And then moving on, we have blank game week 32, a possible blank game week 32 because of the FA Cup semi-final. And also blank game week 37 for FA Cup final. So roughly, briefly, that's the timeline that we have at the moment. So probably you can have a view on which game week you want to use your all of your chips. And also for this episode, we'll be emphasizing on the first wildcard.
Yeah, so we're going to go straight into that. The first game weeks of the season. I think the most crucial, like you mentioned just now, no United and City assets at the start in game week 1. We all know the situation there. And then it's all about how we're going to kind of navigate and get them into our squad. We're expecting a lot of wild cards to be played within that first game week. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail from game week 1 to 5. And take it away.
Okay, for in between game week 1 to 5, I think for me personally, I think there will be a lot of people using their first wildcard, especially because we have two sort of big teams, Man City and Man United. They don't have fixtures on game week 1, so people will probably set up their team without both of their assets. And then later on, game week 2 to game week 5, Man City, I think they have quite sort of non-favorable fixtures. And then game week...
Sorry, Sophie, I'm just going to stop you there.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, obviously they're blanking game week 1, game week 2, they've got Wolves away, which isn't an easy fixture to come back into after that kind of extended break that they've had. They then face Leicester at home, another tricky fixture. We know how well Leicester did last season, despite kind of tailing off towards the end. And then they go away to Leeds. Now, Leeds, they might be a newly promoted side. This is in game week 4, by the way. Leeds might be a newly promoted side, but they come with a bit of a reputation. Obviously, Ellen Road, not exactly the easiest place to go. And Bielsa, we all know about his qualities as a manager, especially with the new additions that they've had. They've been pretty active over the last week in terms of the transfer window. And then in game week 5, it's Arsenal at home. So you're talking about
will be tough.
Yeah, you're talking about 4 fixtures there: Wolves away, Leicester at home, Leeds away, and Arsenal at home. It's it doesn't look like a great time to bring City assets into it, does it?
Correct. I think, and then probably will be split opinion about these fixtures. I think probably a guy like KDB probably will do good in this kind of fixture where intensity will be high between both teams. And he is probably the most capable of breaking out the defense for tough defense.
Yeah, and with KDB, he's one of those that is almost guaranteed to start. The harder the fixture, the more likely. Kevin De Bruyne is likely to start. So in terms of that Pep roulette that we keep talking about, and still puzzles us to this day, KDB is as certain as you're going to get in that City lineup.
Then again, if you look,
go on.
Sorry. Then again, if you look into the reality of the fixtures, let's say Wolves, they'll be losing important players from their backline, Johnny and also Doherty. I don't know. It can be quite an open game, and then possibly a high scoring game for quality assets like KDB or even Sterling.
Yeah. And then that's City for you. But then we also got the red half of Manchester in Man United.
Yeah.
Now their opening 4 fixtures are a lot easier compared to Man City's. In game week 1, obviously they're blank. Game week 2, they come back and they start their season off with a home fixture against Crystal Palace. Now Crystal Palace, We still don't know if Wilfried Zaha is going to start the season with them, or if he's going to be off in the next couple of weeks. And then they go to Brighton and Hove Albion away. They then face Tottenham in game week 4, and that's at home at Old Trafford. And then it's Newcastle away in the 5th game, 4th for Man United, obviously. But it's a bit of a contrast to Man City's fixtures. Can you see more FPL players bringing in Man United assets? Your Rashford's, it's a bit of an injury doubt right now, actually. But your Martial, your Bruno Fernandes, even Mason Greenwood for that matter, and Donny van de Beek if he signs.
I think at the moment, if you see a lot of draft teams in Twitter, especially, mostly people leave the option open for them, and also some portion of people actually put in Greenwood in their team, bench him in game week 1. But then I would like to emphasize that if you the end of summer transfer window will be in between game week 4 and 5, and then also Man United will only be playing on game week 2, which is 7 days gap between our first deadline until the second deadline. So it's still an open transfer window. A lot of things can happen. Suddenly Sancho can come in, and then you will have to use your transfer to change to find a replacement for Greenwood. So I can say that probably my advice is to have a plan. Have a plan to bring in a good asset from Man United, especially they have a very good fixtures. And then the bandwagon with Manchester United, people always quick to snatch them up, and then their ownership can go up high quickly. So yeah, have a plan.
Okay, and we're going to look at the other a couple of big teams that start off the season. We're going to go to the champions, Liverpool. Obviously, they faced Leeds in their first game at home at Anfield. I mean, that's as easy as you're going to get, really, isn't it?
Easy though. Easy.
Play a home fixture against the promoted side, especially when you're the champions. But I don't know how much we need to look into their performances against Arsenal over the weekend, where they didn't really kind of show up, especially the main FPL assets in Salah, in Mane. Obviously, Trent didn't play. So, any thoughts about Liverpool's first 5 fixtures? Let me just go through them. They've got Leeds at home in the first game. They've got Chelsea away in the second game. That's followed up by Arsenal in the third game week at home. And then they've got Villa away, which relatively should be easy. But then again, it's the Merseyside derby in the 5th game week away from home at Goodison Park. Now, I mean, I know, the Leeds fixture is going to shout at you. The Aston Villa fixture is going to shout at you, and it looks really tasty. But, I mean, the other 3, game week 2, Chelsea away, game week 3, Arsenal at home, and then game week 5, Everton away. It's not, I mean, especially when everyone's going to try and get Liverpool assets in there and fill in that slot. It's not very straightforward, easy start to the season for them, is it?
Yeah. Funny thing is, previously during our second episode with James, he did mention that he leave out Salah from his team selection. At that day, I'm quite surprised. But then again, after that, I take a really good deep look into Leeds United, how they defend, and I think I kind of like get his logic behind it. Leeds is, I think, not really a straightforward fixtures for Liverpool, and then Chelsea, of course, they bring a lot of players, good players in this transfer windows. And then Arsenal, we see how they did against Liverpool, particularly how they locked the midfield. how they limit the creativity of the midfield from Liverpool, limiting their chances, pushing their chances, creating just from out wide. And then Aston Villa, yeah, there's a probably a good fixtures, and then Everton, I think will be a good one also for Salah and also guys like Mane. And
Don't think
then
it'll be a tough game for them.
You mean Everton?
Everton, yeah, Merseyside derby and everything.
Historically, they've been it's a Merseyside derby, of course. So always been tough for them. But then for this season, particularly, they don't have the intensity of crowd behind. I don't have a solid idea how they are going to be, how the match going to be. But I think Everton is quite in a deep problem because they are lacking of a leadership on the back line.
Okay, and mentioned Chelsea. Obviously, they've spent heavily in this transfer market. Still, some signings to come in. Kai Havertz apparently very close to being done, and we'll get pricing on him soon enough. But their first fixtures, Chelsea, are relatively easy. I'm going to go through them. They kick off their season with Brighton away. But the second game, obviously, as we mentioned, is Liverpool at home. And then they faced a relatively easy next three fixtures in West Brom away, Crystal Palace at home, and Southampton at home. Now, Timo Werner's been in a lot of teams. Ziyech has been in a lot of teams. They still got Chilwell that's come in. Kai Havertz still to come. Pulisic did so well for them last season. Mason Mount. First of all, how are they going to fit all these players into that 11? And second of all, is it going to take time for this Chelsea team to adjust and gel before these FPL assets start firing?
Honestly, I think at the moment I don't have any idea how they are going to set up for this season. Probably there's going to be a lot of rotation between those players you have mentioned. That's probably the reason why I leave Chelsea out of my selection at the start, because for me, they are in the unknown territory. You have to look at how they set up, how they play the game, how they fare against lower side, and also the traditional big six. But also, there's a lot of potential between those assets you have mentioned. Personally, I think you can have a look at guys like Warner and also Ziyech. And also somebody did mention that the guys that will benefit a lot from the lineup they use against Brighton is the guy who will play at the number 10 goal. Did you watch
that was Loftus-Cheek, wasn't it?
At the moment, yeah, Loftus-Cheek. And also it is a traditional position for Havertz.
Yeah. It is.
So
and
Craig, if I can ask you one question.
Yeah, go for it. Why not? Why not? It's very rare I get asked questions on this show.
When you look at roughly at the timeline, do you have sort of a strategy in mind, particularly for your first World Cup?
Yeah, I do. As a United fan and looking at their fixtures, I think they look really tasty. But what's kind of turned it for me a little bit, which I'll be monitoring very closely, is Marcus Rashford and his kind of injury status. Obviously pulled out of the England squad yesterday, so got to monitor that ankle problem a little bit more. But also on the signing front, Mason Greenwood, we saw what he's capable of. But if United manage, and they might leave this till the end of the transfer window, towards the end, which will be between game week 4 to 5. That Sancho or that Douglas Costa or that Kingsley Coman player comes in, that could change everything. We know Donny van der Beek's on his way to Old Trafford. I'm not so sure he'd start straight away, but what I'll be looking to do, I did contemplate a wild card very early on, and when I mean early, I was thinking about first game week. after that's done, to immediately go out there and get
Immediately after, wow.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking initially. But when I've had a look at it and I've
Okay.
looked at the team, I think I can still work around getting these City players in as the weeks go by. Now, I think I could possibly miss out on, there'll be price rises up and down, but I could possibly miss out on, a big KDB haul. But I'm confident the players that I have instead are able to make up those numbers, because I think City fixtures are tough. I don't think they're going to go goal crazy straight away. I think they'll have a fantastic season, but coming into it, they're starting a week later than everyone else. I think it'll take a little bit longer for them to gel. So I'm actually looking at Spurs assets for me. Spurs is the one that really sticks out, and I'm just going to tell you why as well, because
Have you watched the documentary?
I haven't yet. No, I haven't yet. I'm the type, like, I want it to all come out and then I'll go watch it. So
Okay.
so I will be watching it, but I haven't yet. But they start off their fixtures with Everton at home. I think that's a decent fixture for them. It's not terrible as it sounds. And then they go to Southampton away at St Mary's. Game week 3, they host Newcastle, which is always always a good fixture for any team. Then in game week 4, it gets tough because they go to Old Trafford to face United. And then in game week 5, it's against West Ham, who they have a pretty good record against. And then if you go a little bit further down, it gets good for them up until game week 8. And then they have Man City and Chelsea Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal triple header all in a row. So that would be around the point where I start looking at, maybe, depending on the form of certain players, that's when I might start looking at transitioning to City somewhere after game week 5, and just monitoring the City situation as well. So that would be me. For United, I just need to see the fitness of Rashford and Martial, how he's going to be. Because I believe United, with Van der Beek coming, I think they're going to change their midfield up a little bit. So they might not play with a holding midfielder. So defensively, I'm not so sure how secure they're going to be, how tight they're going to be. But going forward, they could be really, really good, especially with the way that Donny van der Beek plays. So that is my strategy so far.
He's not really the type of player playing like a defensive midfielder.
No, he's not. So what I can see happening at United is him and Pogba just playing as a 2 central midfield, not defensive midfielders as such, but as playmakers, deep line playmakers. Where they start to dictate the tempo of the game. You wouldn't see them, they can't do a job that Nemanja Matic can do, or a job that Scott McTominay can do. But, what they do, I think United are going towards that possession kind of football. And, when you have ball players like Pogba and Van der Beek on the ball, they can always make something happen. So slight change. But then again, I think it's going to be, a few weeks till Van der Beek comes in. We've got to remember there's not a lot of friendly games building up to the start of the season as well, which kind of goes against most FPL managers. You can't really analyze who's, going to start that first game week. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
I think if that's what they are looking into, and then they really need to sign a centre back, probably a centre back that is quick.
Yeah.
To get on the counter attack.
Yeah.
Because I'm not convinced between Maguire and also Lindelof. They're not particularly quick centre back.
Yeah, we're not sure, if Maguire's even going to start the season now. He's been given an extended break.
Oh yeah.
By the club. So they're linked with the Leipzig centre back. So it's definitely something to monitor, But yeah, I mean, that would be my strategy to get City and United.
Here's how I look at the pro and cons between using the wildcard early and also holding on to the wildcard until the week 16. If you plan to use it early, you can get the players and probably manage your value of your team. And also, people who, like me, planning. I'm not concrete yet, but I'm planning to use it later on. Probably until game week 16. Maybe missing out on those players. So, but then if you use the first wildcard early, and then you have to navigate through the game week 18 and 19 blanks using your second wildcard or probably your free hit to get to navigate through a blank of 10 teams and also double of another 10 teams. So as of now, I don't have anything solid yet. Probably I have to really look into what I'm going to do throughout the season. As of now, I try to plan having a guy like Martial in my team, bench him in game week 1, and then straight away putting him in my team game week 2 afterwards. As of Man City, for now, I don't have any plans yet. I don't even know who I'm going to get between KDB and Sterling. Probably if Aguero not fit to start game week 2, I will go for Sterling. He's been producing better stats when Aguero not around. So yeah, that's my plan for now.
Okay, Philosophy, it's been amazing having you on. Thank you so much for having this. I believe you're going to post this little chart on Twitter later today. Yes. Yeah. Are you going to be posting it on Twitter?
Yeah. I think yes, we will put up this sort of diagram on Twitter later on when we release this video for you guys to have a sort of idea and get back to us anything you want to add up to this. And also, if you have any sort of idea or strategy that we didn't mention, in this show, you can reply or tweet to us.
Yeah, definitely. And our Twitter handles are, as you can see on the screen right now, it's Craig Marias 11 for me, and for Sophie, it's Philosophy. Do follow us on Twitter. Do give us a subscribe on our YouTube page. FPL Expectations, and we're going to come up with more content throughout the week, throughout the season. Later on this week, we're going to have a little new show or new episode that we're going to call The Debate. So that should be good. We're going to get a couple guys on and give them a couple of topics to debate. If there's anything that you'd like the guys to debate or mention or talk about throughout the week, do drop us a comment, do tweet us. And just give us some suggestions. What do you want to hear on FPL Expectations? That's all for me, Craig Marias. Thank you, and have a great week ahead.
Thank you. Bye.